This is Brad from Comics, Beer, and Sci-Fi. This is podcast number 25, broadcasting live from Cranbrook Institute of Science, Michigan's Natural History Museum. This is a special Super After Dark episode on June 16th, 2016. We are here with Marc Myers,
Hello.
Sarah Sadovsky, and Jill Janis with the ever-popular... Hi, Jill. The ever-popular Denver on the boards, and we are looking at a bunch of crazy stuff like a small-face tyrannosaur right across, growling at us. This is a pretty cool place to do a podcast. What do you guys
not
think?
shark face, which is I think what you initially thought it said.
Well, since my trip to Boston, I'm a little hard of hearing on my left side, so yeah, that's what I thought he said.
That was before we even started drinking anything.
That's right. So speaking of drinking... This is a 21 and over event here at the Cranbrook Institute of Science, and they are serving booze. And I mean, they have 2 full bars, obviously cash only because, they're not telling anybody really how much they're whatever. And so, we are drinking Bass Ale. And Bass Ale, it is a pale ale. It was founded, the Bass Brewery, founded in 1777 by William Bass. He's dead now, so he doesn't know anything about it. And if I say anything wrong, yeah, really, spoiler alert.
Did they name a fish after him?
I think they did. A large and a smallmouth. This is now made by Molson Coors Brewing Company because, you just can't find a decent little place beer anymore unless you're in Michigan and maybe you're drinking a microbrew, but those were $2 more. So we're drinking this because this is delicious.
I'm going to ask, what's the content?
I have no idea because I just found out from Rochester Mills Brewery that the state of Michigan does not require they display ABV on the package. And since we only have these like see-through red cups or see-through beer cups, I don't have a bottle, so I have no idea. I'm assuming it's like 5%, like a standard beer.
Yeah, maybe.
But it's very smooth. I think this is
it's
very
not bad,
tasty.
actually.
It's a nice
I'm not
ale.
a big fan. I like it a little sweeter, but for...
It's not heavy. It's not heavy.
No,
you can
not
drink
at
it
all.
in the sun and not feel...
Right, exactly. You could drink a lot of this at the beach and not know much. Because once they wake you up and get you to the hospital for dehydration, you'll be fine.
It looks like it has an ABV of 5.10%.
There you go. And it's still very tasty, and I may have another one when we're done with our podcast.
So this is a big week for video games. We kind of skipped a weekend because I knew we were going to be coming here for this event. So we didn't talk about the new movies, and the big new movie from last week, even though it wasn't number one,
was Warcraft.
Or was it number one? No. Mark, what was number one last weekend? Conjuring 2, right?
Conjuring 2.
Because that was a creepy-ass movie, the British Amityville Horror, and I'm actually probably going to see it if I can sneak away, because it actually looked good, and I don't like that kind of movie, but I may go see it.
And word is that it's
I've
as
been watching
good.
Disney Princesses a couple times after I watched that.
Cleanse the evil out of you.
Yeah.
Well, they're already talking about a spin-off movie
Really?
about the villain, the nun character.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
in the
creepy-ass
movie.
nun.
You mean that
I
Marilyn
can't do it.
Manson-looking thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, what the hell's going on with that nun with the white eyes?
Marilyn
Jeez.
Manson.
Is that what it is? It was one blue, one white or something. It was
Beautiful people.
The scary people. The scary.
Somebody needs to talk to Rose McGowan. What the hell was she thinking?
So did anyone see Warcraft?
No, I'm actually scheduled to see it on Father's Day with my dad. It's one of the things he wanted to do on
A
Father's
good
Day.
skull-crushing,
Yes.
father-son bonding.
Yes,
experience.
exactly.
Well, it didn't do that well in the U.S., but I guess in China, it was like
Oh, yeah.
the biggest box
Breaking
office
records.
smash. So
Really?
it kind of flopped here, but if you take in the global audience, it's
Sure.
a huge, huge hit.
Chinese
Okay.
love green orcs.
You know
Yeah.
what, though? That's one of my favorite games, so I am going to see that movie.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because that's what I wanted to talk about was our favorite, or though there's really not that many good video game
There's not.
adaptations, so maybe our most hated adaptations. Jill, do you have any video games that you really wanted to see as a movie?
Wanted to see as a movie or like new that's never been out?
Well, no,
That's
it
a
could
good
be
one.
any movie because we had a string of really bad.
Like I love Final
Movies.
Fantasy. I love Tomb Raider.
Now they did do a Final Fantasy animated movie, correct? Or am I thinking
Yes,
of
it was
They did.
100% animated. It was,
Yeah,
it was
I
like
love it.
super CGI. It was
It was-
looked
there's
realistic,
two of
but it
them.
was
It was
totally
a
fake.
take, yeah. One of them was a take on Final Fantasy VII. It was kind of like, it
It's
was
the
a little.
spirit. It's the spirit guide. I forget
Was
the
it
name.
any good?
It was
No.
really
was.
good. I
was.
enjoyed it.
Especially because it had one of the best fight scenes between Cloud and Sephiroth. And Sephiroth is such an amazing villain in the video game world. And his theme song alone is so epic. And he's like this bad guy that you just want to be so bad. I mean, he has a 7-foot sword and there's just no stopping him. Even after you killed him, he's not dead. He's always coming back. So
Not the same movie I saw. I don't.
no.
Well, I remember one of the first video game adaptations that I saw was for Super Mario Brothers.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
And that was
That was horrible.
horrible.
I mean, two great actors in it, Bob Hoskins and
Yeah.
John Leguizamo, but
And
I
Dennis
think
Hopper.
It's a drinking
That's
game.
right.
I'm
Halo.
pretty sure it was made to be a drinking game.
oh, what's the game? What's,
I mean, I'm just saying it. Just
Oh,
all
I
of it,
see.
all
I
of
wasn't-
it
I wasn't sure if
is
there
a
was, like, a
drinking game.
specific-
No, I mean it was a bad movie, but I think that it's one of those things that you can watch, behind the scenes at a party, and it's pretty funny to
Gotcha.
watch.
So it's entertaining
it's nostalgic.
in a-
Absolutely.
If you're drunk.
Absolutely,
Gotcha.
absolutely.
Well, then there was
Halo.
there a Halo movie?
I think there was it wasn't. It was like a Class B movie. You can look
think
it up.
there was
though.
some
Could have been a
animated-
fan-made movie, maybe?
Yeah, I don't think there was a theatrical.
Maybe it was a fan-made movie.
There was a Doom movie with The Rock, right?
Yes.
And Carl Urban.
Yes, I believe so.
Was that in? I didn't actually see it. Was that in?
No, it bombed.
Okay.
It bombed, and and I was a big fan of the game, and I have like 3 different versions of it, and I didn't go to see
And
it.
that was kind of before The Rock was The Rock. He was
Oh.
he was famous then,
Right.
But I mean,
He
now
was still
he's
a
pretty
wrestler,
much
not
in-
an actor.
Yes, he's
Yeah,
pretty much in every
yeah, I'm with you.
franchise going
Right, I
now.
think there was scoffing involved.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And are there any good video game
Well,
adaptations?
one movie that I kind of liked when I saw it back in the early 90s was Street Fighter with Van Damme and Raul Julia, because I thought it was like G.I. Joe. It looked like a G.I. Joe movie because there was no G.I. Joe live-action movie at the time. But it
Right.
reminded me of G.I. Joe.
Had that same
And at that
visual
time,
style?
I liked it. Van Damme was like in his zenith of popularity, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, it wasn't bad if you liked that.
Yeah,
kind of
I liked
fighting.
that movie. I thought it was cool.
Now,
So-
but was it good or was it just entertaining? I guess?
Entertaining,
Okay.
yeah, it was entertaining and just colorful.
So
Yeah.
would Street Fighter be the best video
Mortal
game
Kombat.
adaptation?
Oh, Mortal
Probably
Kombat.
Mortal
That's
Kombat.
right.
Mortal
Yeah.
Kombat is,
That's
in my
right.
opinion, any of them because I like the story and the goofiness.
Okay.
One of my favorite games ever of
yeah.
all time. Classic.
Yeah,
it's
I
been
couldn't
played
play the
since
game, but
Sega
I could
Genesis
watch the movie
to
like
now.
a
Did they
champ.
have what are
They've
the,
reinvented
what were
the game how many
finishing moves?
times?
Did they have that? In
They
the
need to
movie?
come out with
They
another
did.
movie,
They had
I
it in the
think.
movie.
Really?
Right, and the people died.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. Did they do didn't they in the game they rip out the spine?
Oh yeah.
Did they do that in the movie?
Oh yeah.
They
At
did.
least sure somebody had.
Wow.
Sure. Or the famous "Come here," and he
Yeah.
sent out
Get
the
over
chain and
here.
pull him
Yeah,
over
get
here.
over here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, lest we not forget Tron.
Well, I was wondering about that because
Tron was a game after it was a movie.
Yeah.
there's a whole set of movies that are actually I think pretty good that are about gaming because you had The Last Starfighter.
Yes.
You had Tron. You have Wreck-It Ralph.
Pixels.
Yep.
Pixels, which is not a good movie, but it's entertaining.
And-
So that's almost like a whole separate class of
Right. It's
of
it's
movies.
A to B or B to A.
Right,
It
and-
it depends.
Right.
And what's interesting about Tron, too, is that Kingdom Hearts, which was a small series that Disney kind of collaborated with PlayStation to do, actually had a Tron setup in one of the video games for Kingdom Hearts. And then shortly thereafter, Tron became a movie. So I'm not sure if that is, linked at all, but, the adaptation of Tron and how it was used in Kingdom Hearts was absolutely fantastic. And then I actually really quite enjoyed Tron, the remake, the sequel, I
sequel.
guess.
You like the
yes.
new one?
Yeah, I like that
Oh.
one.
Yeah, that's
I know.
the one where they computerized
I mean, the original
Jeff
was
Bridges to
yep.
look young.
Yeah, I thought
Right.
it was
He gets
great.
rescued. In
Yes,
the first
he
movie,
gets
he goes
sucked.
in, and in the second movie, he comes out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to me, the original Tron, the game,
Yes.
is one of my all-time favorite arcade games.
Yes.
Where you get to do the tank, you get to do
Right,
the
you had to do all of
spiders,
them. It was
you
like
get to
3
do
or
the
4
life
games in one. The better
cycles.
you were, the more games you got to play.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could pick the 4 different like missions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the movie was pretty ahead of its time. The special effects were great, but again, that was the movie came out before the game.
It's almost like back in the day of Tron, they didn't have CGI per se. You actually had to draw. You animated on the celluloid.
Yes. Well, that's why it was a Disney movie because
Right.
they were able to combine their animation prowess with the
But they
live
did it
action.
so well between the lighting and the costumes and that on-cell animation. They really did a fantastic job because it was seamless. The editing on that movie was so good. When you went down and you held onto the bar and you bent down and all of a sudden this thing is built around you and
Yeah,
you were on the
that was
cycle
cool.
and you were going through the thing and visually it was really outstanding.
Well, one of my favorite video game movies is The Last Starfighter. And that is about the boy that plays the arcade game.
Right.
And he's so good at it that this space army...
Right. Nobody knows where the games came from. They just
Yes.
appeared out of nowhere. The kid rides his bike through a mall or whatever to play the game. He plays the game. He gets high scores, and all of a sudden, this is the one where the lizard
Yes.
face guy comes in and says, "We need you to save the world
Was that
or
Robert
the universe."
Preston? Was he the leader of the aliens or like the emissary?
Yeah, he was the guy that recruited the kid.
Okay, gotcha.
Robert Preston, yeah.
And the kid wasn't he Jimmy Olsen from the Superman movies, or am I thinking of
No,
somebody
yeah,
else?
he was Lance Guest or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
No, he wasn't the guy that played the young version of Clark Kent in Smallville.
Oh,
in
that's what
Superman.
it was.
He looked like him,
Okay.
but it wasn't him.
Not him,
It was a
okay.
different actor.
Gotcha.
And I'm trying to remember what else he was in, but I can't think.
And
of
then
it.
there was in that same time period, there was another movie. Was it The Wizard with Fred Savage, where they're trying to go on a road trip to this gaming convention or
Oh.
this big
Yep.
gaming
Wow.
contest? And I
a
actually
long time
never
ago.
saw that as a kid. I saw it fairly recently, and it's not a bad little kid movie, you know. But it was kind of in that early '80s, early mid '80s craze of all those video game
Oh, okay.
movies.
I'll have to check it out because there were a number of video games, Nintendo, Atari. Everybody had a wizard something or wizardry or something was very Dungeons and Dragons-y.
Yes. Oh yeah.
And there were a lot of adaptations. There was a lot of horrible B and C movies.
Well, there was a Dungeons and Dragons movie with Jeremy Irons, wasn't he the villain?
Yes.
And
Very
I never
horrible
did
movie.
see that. Did anybody?
I think I did.
No.
I heard it was just so bad. That,
I saw some of it and blocked it out of my mind. It was
Okay, so
horrible.
it's
Probably
not
why
worth
we never
talking
heard of
about
it.
See,
that.
I think just being a gamer, when I see a movie being made of a game that I really like, I kind of close off to it because I just assume the
That it's
worst.
gonna be bad, yeah.
But I mean, I think the opposite has been more in the favor of well, I know that like with GoldenEye, like James Bond, GoldenEye is one of the best multiplayer games of all time, and it was on N64.
Yep.
And that one, I mean, people had tournaments. I mean, that was one of the biggest games to kind of start like multiplayer gaming, first-person
Well, and that's
shooter
a whole
kind of
other
stuff.
thing where it's a video game based
Right.
on a movie, and
Yeah.
usually those aren't very good either.
Right, absolutely.
So yeah, GoldenEye was one of those rare games that was probably better
Right.
than the movie was.
Now, this is the Pierce Brosnan
Yes,
Yes.
it was.
and
the
Halle
first one.
Berry, I believe.
No,
Mm-hmm.
No.
No, not GoldenEye.
No,
that
no.
was
GoldenEye starred Pierce Brosnan and Sean Bean.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
yeah. Wasn't it Die Another
Was
Day?
it, but it
that
was
the
a
one?
it was a
I
big
think so.
it was a big lens that focused a laser that could be shot and kill
Big
focus.
satellite dish. I
Yeah.
remember.
But that's what it was. GoldenEye was a giant lens that
Well,
focused a laser.
This is not a movie. That
No.
was-
That's
no. I'm going to change
Oh,
subjects here.
please.
This is not a movie that was based on a game, or there was no video game based on this movie. But my all-time favorite movie that has to do with gaming is a documentary
Yeah.
King of Kong.
Yes,
That is a
so
classic.
amazing.
If
Oh,
you haven't-
didn't that just come? That just
I'll
came
have
on
to check that out.
Netflix.
It's really good.
It just
Really?
made available on
It-
Netflix.
It
I
might
thought.
have been. It's been around for quite a while, but
Yeah.
that is such a great
It's
movie.
a great personal story.
Yes.
Personal victory story.
Well, because the main character is like obsessed with beating these video games.
Donkey
Right.
Kong, the
Donkey
arcade
Kong
Donkey Kong,
specifically.
which
Yeah,
has
one of
glitches
my
and it's one of the
friends-
hardest games of all time.
Yeah, one of my friends from work, in real life, RL, was actually, when I first met him, was ranked as one of the top 10 Donkey Kong players. And when he got hired in, he needed time off because he was scheduled to go to Vegas to do one of their competitions. He's been to like 3 of them. And I thought that was absolutely amazing because when we watched Pixels, all I could think of was, I know who that's based on because he told me about the one prick that's like
Billy
the
Mitchell.
top guy. Yeah.
And Billy Mitchell, does he own a rib place or a chicken? What was his? He had that sauce, didn't he?
I'm not really sure.
And then he opened up, based on the success of the documentary, he opened up his own arcade and called it something like King of Kong, and there was all kinds of legal issues.
That's funny.
So there's another documentary that came out not too long ago, not nearly as good as King of Kong, but it's pretty interesting. It's about the story, the infamous story of all the E.T.
cartridges in the
that they made for the
landfill.
original 2600 Atari. And supposedly this game was so bad, I actually remember playing it, that no one bought it. So there was a rumor that there was a New Mexico landfill that they dumped all these E.T.
It
cartridges.
bankrupted Atari.
It was one of the things that kind of put them in the grave.
They put
And
a
so
lot of money into
They
it.
did a documentary where they had this guy who researched where he thought all these cartridges, and sure enough, they dug it up
Really?
and they found.
Oh my
found
gosh!
it.
It was
Why
like
did they
Raiders of the
recycle
Lost
it?
Ark looking
That's
for
terrible.
the E.T. Cartridges.
Yeah, exactly.
Wasn't there
That's
just
terrible.
a movie? Wasn't there just
It was
a
called
movie
Game
about?
Over, wasn't it?
Game over. You're right. Yes.
There was just a movie about some kids that there was a guy and he had boxes and boxes of this video game that was supposedly didn't exist and is like in the back shed, and the stepfather or whatever, he's a bully, and they came in and he's like, all right, fine, I'll show you what I got. And he opens it up and he pulls out this game. He goes, hey, wait a minute. Those are all destroyed. You gotta, I'll figure it
Yeah,
out.
yeah, I don't know what
I'll
that
tell you
is,
what
but
it
it
is.
sounds
I'll put it in the
interesting.
comments. I'll find out which movie it is and I'll put it in the comments. It's a remarkable coincidence.
It's a narrative film.
Yeah.
If I may transmorgify this conversation,
Absolutely.
there's a big part of me that is also curious about the video games that are fan favorites that people want to have put into movie. And there's a lot of like that would be really cool, but once you do that, sometimes it kind of, if it's not done properly,
Or the storyline.
if it's not done, if it's not done like to the level of like Lord of the Rings, it's going to kind of fall apart. It's going to change the feeling and the nostalgia of certain games. Some like Legend of Zelda. There's been stuff like even to the point where several years ago somebody made a fake trailer to put all this hype up about Legend of Zelda becoming a movie on April Fool's Day, and everybody was going crazy about it, and then they found out it was an April Fool's joke, and people were crushed. But I know that Legend of Zelda, there's so many different plot lines and so many different stories, and it's so vast that even though these games would be amazing to see on the big screen,
They're too complex.
they're too complex. And like I would love them to make a God of War movie. All the mythology that's involved, I feel like it would be very easy for them to take that and make it into a movie, like something like the 300 or something.
Well, so many of these video games nowadays have all these great animatic scenes.
Absolutely,
that are
they're
very
like movies in
movie-like.
themselves.
They
Yeah,
are,
the
yeah.
cutscenes. I was playing The Witcher the other day, and there was a cutscene for a quest that I had been working on for about a week now. And don't hate on me for the fact that it took me a week to do one
You
quest,
loser.
but it was several. Yeah, it was many hours, and this cutscene alone was probably about 15-20 minutes of dialogue, interactive dialogue. And so I feel like almost the video games are becoming more movie, more cinematic, and
It's the cinematics that sell the movie. I mean, that sell the game.
Even just that the games are
Absolutely.
so realistic.
So-
Like, I'm sorry not to cut you off.
No,
like,
no.
even like the army games they have on Black Ops. Wasn't there rumor they were having a movie about that too? But
Well,
Right.
and video games nowadays, frankly, make more money than a lot of Hollywood movies.
Oh, of course.
So I think video games are kind of beyond the point of even needing.
Yeah, I
an
don't think it's really gonna be
adaptation.
Right, but
happening
back
as
in
much.
the cinematics are a lot easier to make than the crap animation in some of these games. I mean, they lost me years ago to some of the animation in the game, and the gameplay had nothing to do with the cinematics. I've spent over $100 on
Yeah, the story
on
would totally stop,
games
and then
based
there's
on
some
cinematics, right?
arbitrary-
It's like, oh man, this is great. I've been looking forward to seeing this, and you go to play it, and it's like, what the hell just happened? I can't even do that. Where did that? How did they do? And then you see it, and it's like a lead-in, and then the gameplay. It's the character's 2 inches tall. You can't see any detail, and it's a crappy joystick game. So I know it's changed a lot with the more complicated controllers and the PS4 and the Xbox and all this other stuff. But I actually have the money to buy all this shit now, and I could give a crap. Because they lost me. They pissed me off. They cheated me out of so much money already over the years. I'd rather just play Night Driver on an old Atari with a dial there. All right, I'm ready. I'm going.
I
It's,
remember that game fondly.
I love that game.
I spent many an hour.
Yeah. Well, I personally love the new video game systems, and actually, I don't know if this is a good segue into. I don't know if this is too soon about E3.
never too soon.
Might as well. The only thing I was going to throw out there is we didn't touch on probably the most popular video game movie, which has to be Resident Evil.
Yeah,
yeah,
There's
absolutely.
a whole series
Right.
of those. I think they're
Right.
even working on
The
another
Umbrella
one now.
Corporation.
Right, Mila Jovovich is my all-time favorite
Yeah,
actress.
absolutely. No, I mean, and that is an example of one movie that did very, very well, given that. But they had a lot of plot lines to go from, and I think that they wrote it very well, given the circumstances of it. Moving it from the video game system to the big screen. And I mean, it's like you said, it's one of the highest grossing ones as well.
Yeah, how many movies have there been now?
I think there's been
Four?
Four.
And there's a fifth one
Is that
coming?
all? It seems like there's a lot more for some reason.
Well,
Right.
because it's like nonstop. You can watch one, and you can watch it over and over again. It's literally like playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought was really fascinating about it, is that Resident Evil was the first game I ever played on PS1, and actually was in a college dorm. I'm sitting here playing this
it's
game.
that old? Wow.
Did they have video games back then?
Right.
It actually no, they didn't.
When those
actually, they
dinosaurs
didn't.
over there were out.
I was visiting my cousin in New York. It was his college dorm, and
that makes
yeah, it's a
sense.
lot.
Yeah, there we go. There's a twist.
Yeah,
I knew
there's
it.
it's a twist. And so, suffice it to say, it was really fun playing the game. And the reason it made it fun is because he had it long enough that the first movie had already come out. So I knew what
Right.
to expect and all this stuff. And I was fascinated because the game had way more stuff going on in it than the movie did. And it was a surprise. So it's like the movie, it was a Mobius strip, right? The movie begat the game, begat the movie in my mind. And it was
Gotcha.
like, man, this is great. So, yeah, I was very pleased with it.
Well, there is. We talked about it briefly, but there is that trailer for Assassin's Creed with Michael Fassbender, and I think that looks
I love
pretty
that
darn
Yeah.
good.
game.
That
And there's
does
so
look
many
good.
sequels too. I'm interested to see what they're gonna do with that.
Well, I like the premise, and I know Brad and I we tussled about this before, but I actually like the premise where you can go back in time through this guy's DNA and kind of revisit the different eras.
But they wanted to recruit his DNA and put it into other people to make them assassins like his ancestors were. That they were trying to steal the genomorphic qualities of his assassin DNA and
Sure, but I
create an
think
army.
it's just an excuse to go back in
Oh
time
yeah,
to all these
absolutely.
different eras.
I mean,
so-
from that standpoint, yes, it's a fascinating premise, and honestly, I'm a big fan of the whole of the whole Assassin's Creed
No,
storyline.
I don't play it. Is each game in a different time period? Is
Some
that
of it
how
is. Some of it is. Some of it's revolutionary. Some of it's in Europe. Some of it's pirates. But they're all related somehow.
And the character gets different tools and things he can use through each game. It's like almost like it builds a different character too in each game. You can build and create. I love that game.
Yeah,
Brothers Creed.
Yeah.
Is one of my
Okay, and
favorites.
just to wrap up this conversation, I did see Warcraft this weekend.
Oh,
and I gotta say,
Don't spoil too much.
No, I won't spoil anything since no one's really seen it, at least here.
Did you understand it?
Yeah,
I was in Boston. I didn't have a
It's not
chance.
hard to
It's
understand.
a typical good versus evil kind of
Yeah, now
plot
what
line.
they did do is they kind of threw you right into the story. So they're talking about people and places and things that they don't really establish the way a typical movie does.
Right.
But it's not overly complicated to where I didn't know what was going on. The animation was cheesy, but it was great. in
Oh, no,
that it was-
wait, back up. Why is it cheesy?
Well, it's just
Was
not.
it the green skin?
No, it's just not very well done.
No.
Because literally every shot, every frame is massive computer graphics. So I think the budget, even though they spent a ton of money.
That was the number one thing that I was like hyped up about this movie to see, because you would expect the graphics for a movie of a game to be better, because the graphics of the game are so great.
Well,
For it
'cause
to
what it's-
be into a movie, it should be times a million.
And what this movie is similar to is Avatar, where it's a lot of CG world
Mm-hmm.
and characters, and it just doesn't live up to that standard.
That's
Well,
disappointing.
my thing, I mean, I think I've made it known many times that I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. Lord of the Rings was made back in the early 2000s, I think they started filming in like 1999, 1998 or something. I mean, if they can make that kind of a quality of movie with the CGI and the team of craftsmen and everything that they could do back then, to
Well-
me it's like I have such a standard for any
Yes.
fantasy or sci-fi now. It's like you know, if you're gonna do it and it's going to be a massive thing like that, then take the time to do it well.
Well, the cool
Otherwise, it
thing with-
loses a
With
little
Lord
bit
of the
to it.
Rings, what was so brilliant was they used models, they used
Right.
forced perspective,
Right.
so that
It wasn't
that
all just
3D was
CGI.
blended in pretty seamlessly. Whereas this, you could tell, is just total CG, totally fake looking. But if you
So if they're
set
gonna
that
do
as-
that,
if
it's like
s-
you might as well make it almost an anime like Beowulf
Right.
or
It was almost
Yeah.
that. It really was. And if you set that aside, it was a fun movie. You have
Mm-hmm.
orcs crushing people's skulls, and just everything's massive.
Can't go wrong with
Yeah.
a good craniotomy.
Yeah, all their voices are like extremely guttural and like, it's like, yeah.
totally over the top and crazy. And so it's a fun movie. It's not.
was it gory?
In a cartoonish way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, crushing someone's skull is pretty gory, but it's not like you don't see like blood and brains oozing out, so it's not overly graphic. But it's a fun movie. It's not a good movie, but it's entertaining if you're geeky, if you like.
So out of
Right.
5 stars, you give it a
I give it realistically, I give it a 2 stars.
Yeah.
Eek.
But I enjoyed it. So if you kind of put the criteria of what a good movie is to the side, you can just enjoy it for what it is. you
Yeah.
know, which is
Yeah.
kind of mindless entertainment.
Go in with no
So how many tomatoes?
expectation.
They're all splattered.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's
Like, I
definitely
enjoy a good stomach ache.
it's definitely rotten. I think it's at like 20 or 30% on Rotten
Yikes.
Tomatoes, so the reviews aren't good. We did talk about the fact that it did make a ton of money, so I'm sure there'll be another one, even though it kind of bombed here in the U.S.
Yeah.
But let's, as Sarah was kind of alluding to, let's shift in, because the other big thing this week was the E3 conference in Los Angeles,
Yep.
which is essentially the Comic-Con for video games. And I know, Sarah, you were kind of up on things. What was for you, what was the big reveal or announcement?
Well, there's several. Do you want me to go through some of them?
Yeah,
Okay,
please.
I'll blow through some of them because I know that we're not a huge gamer group right here. Are you? Yeah? All right.
Oh, yeah,
Have you ever
Q
played
likes to
Elder
play.
Scrolls?
Q's joined us, ladies and gentlemen.
I know another podcast.
Late but better than never, right?
That's right. Late, better than never. Say the best for last. That's all.
right.
Have you played Elder Scrolls Skyrim?
I played Skyrim a few times, but
Okay.
not. I'm more of a Gears of War guy.
Right. All right. So it was announced that there's going to be a new Skyrim, Elder Scrolls Skyrim 5.
Is this one without the built-in bug that they refused to fix because they figured nobody would ever get that high in the game, and when everybody did, they said, "Oops, sorry."
I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah.
But I know that it includes the most downloadable content ever released, and it has mod support as well. And it's going to be released October 28th. It's supposed to be bigger, more beautiful, more vast than before. By the trailer, the graphics are even better than before. It looks absolutely gorgeous. So anyone that likes that kind of immersive world, like the Elder Scrolls series gives you, will absolutely love this. Another thing that was announced that's huge is Microsoft announced 2 new Xbox game consoles. One of them is 40% smaller than the Xbox One and up to 2 terabyte storage, 4K for video and Blu-ray, and it's going to be released in August.
And this
it's
is
going to
the
be
Xbox One S?
Yes, it's the Xbox One S. And then it's another one called Project Scorpio. It's going to be autumn of 2017, and it fully supports 4K gaming with 6 teraflops performance, and it's VR ready as well. So it has that virtual reality ready. And that is a big theme with E3, with the announcements with the E3, is the VR capabilities of the new gaming systems, which is fantastic.
There's a Batman.
Man, virtual reality. So
Yep.
I might have to get the PS4 just for that.
And like we were talking about before, Resident Evil 7 is going to be completely
Yes.
VR.
Yeah.
Completely VR. And I've heard that it's absolutely horrifying. So that's going to be really
Well,
fun.
the
Brad wants
trailer
in on
didn't.
that.
No, the trailer didn't do it justice. The trailer didn't really do it justice
No.
because there was a lot of think to Wayne's World, and if anybody recognizes the sound,
Right.
Yeah.
whenever the person who moved their head, they moved their head, and the view of the video went all ooey, and it was not good.
Like,
That was a problem. Because it's basically somebody going around a dark house with a flashlight. The phone rings and says, "Get out of the house, they're coming to get you." And they're walking around like a dumb shit with this flashlight, and shit's running through doorways and la la la.
Right.
The short version is, it was not all that,
Short
nor a
version.
bag of chips.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the short
that was the short version?
Yes.
I
right,
see. I didn't miss anything.
Brad, we have a special guest joining us. This is Chris.
Hi,
He is
Chris.
going to be the MC for the cosplay contest.
Cosplay contest. Very
Tonight
nice,
at Cranbrook. And he's going to talk video games with us.
Oh,
and then
nice,
At the
okay.
end, he'll give us a little
nice to meet you.
little rundown of what's going on tonight. So we were talking E3 games. The virtual reality game that I'm looking forward to is the Battlefield X-Wing.
Yep.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Star Wars
Yep.
is going to
Yeah, that
have
should
one
be
where you're
good.
in the cockpit and you can look all the way around. That I think is
Yeah,
going to
any
be
flight
awesome.
simulator in a virtual reality environment is going to be excellent.
Yeah, I can't wait for that one.
One of the few things that I actually liked about Battlefront was the retake on the sort of aerial battles that we loved in Battlefront 2, and we wish that they built on. But the system is a lot better. So with virtual reality, I'm actually really interested to see how that's going to work out for the average player, how the average player is going to enjoy that.
Yeah, have they announced the cost of what the VR headsets are going to be?
So the PlayStation VR headset is going to be around, I believe, $400. Yep.
Nice little
Not,
chunk.
not
grab.
pricey at all.
That's a what would Chris say? That's a cash
That's a cash grab.
That's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, with new technology, eventually it'll be cheaper for the rest of us.
Well,
but
I'm gonna make a guess right now, and you can mark it. And if I'm wrong, I'll owe you a nickel. But all this VR
Wow,
ready stuff,
that's a good bet, bro.
yo, you got it. Everything that they say now is VR ready. By the time VR is affordable, there's air quotes here, people. Affordable. None of these VR ready machines will accept the plugs for them or will work with them because they will not be backwards compatible. I'm making.
I'm sure there's a way to gotta be
It's
scalable.
they'll
Oh,
fix
no,
it
I'm
eventually.
sure,
it's just
but-
like when they came out with the Kinect.
How many PS1s are there in a landfill, or PS2s. And as soon as this PS4 takes hold and everybody gets their $400 of PS4 out, a lot of PS3s.
Well, I
So-
will say this
I
about the
keep
VR.
mine.
The
I
VR
keep all
my
mine.
games.
I have my Super Nintendo.
keep the
I
games,
have
but
my
you're not
two
gonna keep the players.
N64s.
No,
I
I
got
keep
my
the players.
PlayStation 2. I got all the games.
I'm restocking
tried.
my PlayStation 2 games.
Okay.
That's future investment. That's my retirement
is.
fund.
That's what all the
Keep
college
the
students are
dust
gonna
out of
play.
it
They're
because they
gonna
don't
play
work
the
as
old
good when they
Right,
get dusty.
yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have the
Mario Kart.
nostalgia.
Everybody
factor
said that
going
about
on.
the Star Wars
Okay,
figurines too
okay.
back in the day.
Now wait, let me
Yeah,
just.
those are worth
the
money.
VR. We were talking movies, Q, before you got
Okay.
here, and I think the VR is another way that
Movies.
they're going to
Moving away from it.
leave the movies in the dust. So I think
Especially because
Well,
it's
I
going to
don't
become more POV, so that experience of you actually being in the
in the
game is going to
movie.
trump a movie.
Well, it's the same thing with the 4D. You know, the sheets shake and you get the water in your face and all that. It's
Well,
just another way of immersing
and think
you.
about all those point of view camera movies
Yep.
that was a craze.
Making
That
you
was
wanna throw
almost
up.
I
the
think,
one that just came out, that hardcore.
Hardcore Henry.
Yeah, and
Hardcore Henry, yeah.
I think that whole thing started kind of as a reaction to those POV games.
Yeah, you're
you
right.
know?
No, you're absolutely
So yeah, I think movies are kind of catching up to. Let me just
So-
the one trailer that I saw that I couldn't tell. I was a little bit ambivalent. There is a Friday the 13th game coming
Yes,
out
I just
where
was
you
gonna
can
talk
play
about
as
that.
Jason and you can smash young girls'
I was just gonna
heads.
say.
That game,
To
I ain't
me-
gonna lie. I can't wait. I'm a bad. I ain't
See,
gonna play
I
it,
was
You're
but
going
I'm
to
a bad.
see more movies
I don't
turn
know.
into games like that because people are going to be able to have
I couldn't
control
stomach
over
it.
the
Maybe I'm just
story.
getting old, but I
No,
was like, no,
I think
can't.
it's a bad idea.
I think it's a
and-
I think it's a
horrible
terrible
idea.
idea.
Stop
I-
hate crimes against women,
Yeah.
even if it's
Well,
in the
you- yeah,
virtual
that-
world.
no.
It's
a bad
We need to stop
idea.
this
Now,
because
wait a minute. You
Well,
get to kill
It's a
young
bad
boys
idea.
Yeah, but we
killed the
don't.
billboard for
But we
X-Men
don't.
Apocalypse because of Mystique being choked by Apocalypse, and so you can't have people going around crashing.
First of all,
Yeah.
Now, if
I
was-
might seem a
if they
little
got rid of the
insensitive.
Jason mode and you were just playing as the kids trying to escape, that's a little different.
The
I think.
computer should
No.
only the computer should be Jason.
Yes.
and
No.
you should be trying to get the hell away,
Away
from
from
him.
him.
Fun
Right. Yeah.
is killing the. I have to disagree with you. The fun is being able to play as Jason.
So we're gonna have kids
But
in
isn't it kinda
wheelchairs
sick
too,
that
and
I
you
mean,
know,
we're teaching children
now
it's
we take
okay
little
to
babies.
play.
Now we
I
take
mean,
it
how
too
far-
far.
It's
Wait,
okay
wait,
to play a
wait.
video
Grand
game where
Theft
you're
Auto
going to
mode.
kill
Killing
innocent
them
people.
is okay if they're in good health.
Right.
But if they're not in good health and they, air quotes again, folks, should be dead, and we kill them, that's in bad taste.
well,
Yeah.
I feel like
terrible.
this.
Wow. To quote my good friend Q, wow.
Okay. Let's just
Mind blown
let's just,
right now.
Just,
Okay,
okay,
no,
let's
hear
just
the
look
man
at
out.
this.
Hear the man out.
Let's
Go
just
ahead.
look at this for what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. We never had a problem with it in the 80s.
What?
We never had a problem with Jason in the 80s.
well, we weren't.
We weren't controlling it.
No.
We weren't.
We also
No.
don't have 145 mass shootings
Uh-uh.
in 1 year, and it's not even a full year yet.
Okay. We never had a problem with Jason in the 80s. We never had a problem with Freddy in the 80s. We never had a problem with people with these girls getting killed and falling and breaking their legs and being dumb in the movies in the 80s. We never had a problem with it in the 90s.
But it's-
so now it's different because we can control the mass
Yes.
murderer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you become that person in a certain degree. And obviously, I don't know if we necessarily need to tap on this. I don't think that
Yeah,
we
it's-
necessarily have time
Not
to.
comic experience
But
Sci-Fi.
Right.
I think maybe the open-ended question to our listeners is kind of, where do you see the VR going? At what point is it going to stop? Can it become so if you're playing as a killer, if you're playing as a serial killer or a victim, or where would this potentially go later on in perversions or in fantasy or fun things
me-
or whatever? How far could it go? Because unfortunately, we do live in a society where those kinds of demons lie in people's heads.
You're
so we do have
absolutely
to
right.
guard ourselves from
But
it, whether
you
or
all
not
sound
we're like that.
the same people that say rap music causes people to go out and shoot people. Or
It doesn't?
I mean, okay, so in that case, then in
Sorry, I
that
couldn't
case,
help myself.
It's
In
almost
that
like the
case-
purge. You're
no,
giving
in
people
that
a day
case-
or a game or an outlet
that
to be
case,
psychopaths. psychopaths.
You
I
need to
guess.
stop all
Is that what you're
violent
saying?
games,
I mean, people were
movies.
pretty messed up beforehand because we used to burn people at stakes, and that was in the 1600s before video games were even a thing.
So it doesn't matter.
yeah,
The
it's
fact
not-
that you're playing, if somebody is secluded and will never see this, and they come out and start killing people, you gonna blame it on the game? It's not the game's
But,
fault.
I mean, not even
No.
that.
It's not the
though.
game's
How
fault.
much fun are you really going to have murdering little
People
kids on a game?
make
I mean,
a
there's so many better
decision
games.
to do what they
I think
do
it's
in
terrible.
their
So,
life.
So I think
The
we
fact
can
that you're
totally
You can't go at this in a
game.
logical manner when you're dealing with
let's-
psychopaths.
We're gonna wrap this
Well,
up
I
real
think
quick.
yeah, I think we
but
can wrap it
because
up with.
I'm sorry. I just want to say.
You're entitled to your
No, a
opinion.
video game is
There's
not
nothing
going to
wrong
make
with
people
that.
kill.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think that we should ban,
No.
violent or sexual video
Because
games.
if you ban one, you got to ban them all.
I'm just saying, me personally, I don't want to play that. I won't be buying that.
well, I don't
or,
want to play it
you know.
either. I just.
Right. So I think we can just conclude.
They're going to
this
make another
like, there's-
landfill in China. Don't worry.
Right. There's
I
gonna be
just
there's
feel
lots
like
of video games for a
it's
lot of different
interesting.
markets, but I think it's definitely something to think about. You know, as we're bringing about new technology,
Right.
it's definitely something to think about. But like you said, there's tons of different video games for lots of different people. I don't play really scary video games because I can't sleep at night. But
that's why I'm
but
not
there's
bad,
nobody
Jason.
forcing me Clockwork Orange style to watch or play these games. So it
Right.
is about personal choice.
Right.
Nice reference.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
you
just saying.
All right, Q. Let's talk about
The best game that they showed at E3.
Yes, go ahead.
Let's talk about Injustice. That's all that
Yes.
matters.
Oh, yeah, that looked really
Injustice
good.
2. Let's talk about
Injustice
The game
2.
that we've been
Yes.
waiting for since Injustice came out. I still play Injustice till this day.
And reading the comics.
And reading the comics.
But what about the Arkham game? The
Oh, the Arkham
looked
game
good too.
The
The
wait a
Arkham
second,
game
the-
is the best Batman game.
with Injustice. Did the game come out first?
Yeah, the game
Well,
came
the-
out first, and then they did
the
a 5-year
books came
prequel
out,
in
right.
between when the game came out and now.
leading
They
up to
just-
the events of the first game.
So the comic books are going to kind of bridge the gap
Well,
between the two
they're still on
games.
year one. They haven't even bridged what happens after Injustice, which is really going to be
see.
exciting because they still haven't released Volume 2 yet, have they?
They've gone all 5 years before
The
the
first,
first game.
right,
And now we'll see what they'll do.
right.
And recap it for the people that aren't familiar with the storyline of the original Injustice.
The Joker went all being the Joker.
Quickly.
Tricked Superman into killing Lois Lane. He made Superman think Lois was Doomsday. Superman took her up into space, killed Lois and his unborn child, went crazy, took over the world. Batman hopped
Typical
to another
man.
universe, brought everybody over there, and they beat Superman's.
Bottom
Yeah.
end.
Yes,
and so do
just
we
like
know,
Batman always does.
Do we know anything about the sequel, what the storyline is supposed to be?
I
Not
think
too
there's,
much, but I'm
rumors
thinking
about something that there's some huge event, some villain.
Villain is
that
gonna break out
frees
Superman.
Now, what book is that in?
Injustice.
I just picked up a Rebirth.
Okay, so we got to wrap things up here. The cosplay contest is about to start.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about this event and how you got involved. and-
Judging that.
So we have these After Dark events. We started them back in September of last year, I believe. We've had different theme ones. We had Camp After Dark, Fright After Dark, Love After Dark, Build After Dark, and this one is the last one of this sort of season, so Super After Dark. I've been working at the museum for a few years, and I volunteered a few years before that. I went to school at Cranbrook, and they sort of tapped my expertise because I'm all about comic books and sci-fi, so they asked for my help on this. We've had different science activities around the museum. We have vendors such as yourself, Geeks with Attitude, local artists come out and help, breach the public on comic books and sci-fi and things like that. And we've had trivia downstairs, so you all should go down and test your knowledge. I made it with the most dedicated comic book readers in mind, so you should go and test that, see if you can beat it.
So you made it unbeatable, is what you're saying.
We'll see.
Didn't
Okay.
we just have this discussion? There's no such thing
As what?
as a no-win situation.
Oh,
Yeah, we said Donald Trump.
Thanks, Kirk.
Oh, geez. All right.
Even though I hate Kirk, but I'll give you that one.
And so the cosplay contest that's going to be happening in a few minutes.
Yes.
You're going to be emceeing? Is that
Yes,
correct?
I'm emceeing it. I believe one of you might be judging it. I'm not sure who.
Here, hi,
I
guilty.
never get to judge anything.
Then we have one judge from Geeks
Me
with
neither,
Attitude,
Q.
and then one of the Fallout people are actually judging it as well.
because
Oh,
I'm a
one of the
ginger?
cosplayers are going to
Yeah,
be.
that's probably what it
Okay.
is.
So then
You
we
have no soul.
Mostly individuals ranging from Star Wars to Portal, some created superheroes, and even a team.
So I have a
yeah.
question for you. So
Yes.
you're emceeing.
Yes.
So you've heard of MF Doom? He plays all of like the old Spider-Man video game or soundtrack into his music. You know who I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay. So we're gonna be hearing some stuff like that, like some creepy, eerie music or intros to stuff, or
I don't know how much music we'll be doing. I generally don't do the music. Either John
Okay.
or Austin will be doing the music.
so what does emceeing include for you today?
Hosting. He's hosting.
Okay.
Master
Yeah.
of ceremonies, not a
I-
DJ.
Right.
Yes.
I talk.
Oh,
That's my
okay.
talent. I talk.
Ricky Dean, it's me in the place
Yeah.
to be. Oh, sorry.
No turntables here.
No
tonight.
turntables.
That would
Right.
also be Austin.
All right, Brad. I think we got to wrap it up. We got to get down
All
to
right.
that cosplay.
Injustice.
Do you
I gotta
think-
get on my talking out. I was late. Talkie. Okay.
I gotta
Yeah.
get bad judges
Talkie.
to my right.
Crash Bandicoot is coming
Away
back.
from me so
Yes,
I can
I
have
know. Oh, all
good
right.
judgment.
Crash
Mike.
Bandicoot
I
is
love
coming
Crash
back.
Yeah, let's
Bandicoot.
take it around the horn real quick. Anybody cue final thoughts?
Yeah, Crash Bandicoot coming back. I love
I love
Warcraft. I don't know what
Crash
these crazy people was talking about. They kind of came in until the end of that. Warcraft was great.
None of us have seen it, so we didn't have an
You
opinion.
didn't see it?
Batman Returns
No,
to Arkham
I'm
is
seeing it
coming
with
out.
my
I'm
dad
excited
on
for that.
Father's Day.
Okay, I'm sorry.
One at a time, quickly.
Batman
Jill?
Returns to Arkham and Minecraft and Lego Star Wars. Thank you.
Yeah.
Those are all new coming
They're
out.
coming
Yes.
out this year.
Yes.
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 Another
This is-
Minecraft?
Yes.
Yes.
Really
Yes.
interesting. Okay, Sarah, any last thoughts?
I'm really excited about the E3's announcements for Horizon Zero Dawn. It's going to be a female playable character in kind of like a old dinosaur kind of style, where you're going to be actually fighting robot dinosaurs, and that's going to be coming out soon. Think The Witcher 3 meets robot dinosaurs. It's a female lead and mostly bow, so it's really challenging. Excited about that one.
Cool. Brad,
Oh, excited about something.
quickly.
Can I take Brads? Can I take Brads? Can I take Brads? Can I
Yes,
take
Q,
Brads?
go
Yeah,
ahead.
go,
Okay.
go, Q.
Woo,
Go
Independence
fast.
Day come out the end of the month.
What comes
Yeah,
out
let's
at the end of the
go.
month?
Independence Day.
Oh yeah,
But we're talking about
Independence Day.
games.
We're talking about games.
Yeah, I watched the Days Gone trailer, and zombie apocalypse first person shooter. Actually, third person shooter. It's kind of weird. Absolutely horrible. I'm watching
He
them
said
going.
good.
Why are
You're gonna
you?
bring it all down, man.
Why are
Right.
no good
Yeah,
or
we're trying to go out on a high note here.
oh high
Right on
note.
the earth.
Oh wait,
Watch it.
Okay, next.
there. How's that?
All right. Thank y'all all for having me.
Yeah,
thank y'all
thanks for joining
coming
us.
out. I'm excited for Injustice 2, and I absolutely need a virtual reality Pokemon game. I need that in my life.
Well, you go ahead.
Oh, see,
Wait.
now you're talking.
Hey,
There you go.
Are you gonna do one? Cause I got another one.
Go ahead. You
Go
got it.
Q.
Winona Earp Sci-Fi channel. Once you get past the bad sci-fi acting, it's actually really a good show. You should check it out.
Sci-fi.
What's the
I
name
thought
of
we
the
did
show?
like
Called
sci-fi.
Winona Earp.
Yeah,
Earp.
Winona Earp.
So she's
taking
like the
place.
daughter of Wyatt
No,
Earp?
she's like the great
Yeah.
granddaughter of
So there's
Wyatt
a
Earp.
futuristic version.
Right, and all the people that he killed with the Peacemaker come back, and they always choose an heir to have to send them back to hell. So it's cool right
Nice.
now. Once you get past and it's based off a graphic novel, so it fits in. So once you get past the bad sci-fi acting, it's actually a really cool show. Doc Holliday's on there. He's not as good as Val Kilmer, but he's pretty good. Okay,
Brad?
I'm done now.
Take us
Oh,
away.
Pete's Dragon. That's what I'm
New
looking
trailer.
forward to. Pete's Dragon.
That trailer does look really good.
Really
Yeah.
good.
Really
And,
Really
and
good.
Judge Dredd is a douchebag in that
I
movie.
know, right?
There's a lot of news we didn't cover. We'll do that in our next kind of official podcast. We'll do a catch-up
Okay, good.
episode,
Okay,
all
sweet.
news,
But yeah,
all
I knew I was
trailers,
looking forward to something.
because there's a lot of new TV shows.
And a mustard.
Yes, there are.
A lot to talk about.
All right,
so-
well, live from Cranbrook Institute of Science, Michigan's National History Museum, their final Super After Dark episode 25 of Comic Experience Sci-Fi for Q and Joe Janis and Sarah Sadowski and the inimitable Marc Myers and Denver on the boards. This is Brad Levin saying, see you next time.
I am the law.
Amen.